Welcome to Stimulate Conversations, a sexual wellness business discussions podcast that supports the vast range of professionals supporting consumers from a business perspective within the sexual wellness space. My name is Nicole Lameck, your host, and the founder of Stimulate, a B2B sexual wellness trade show held annually in Nashville, as well as many other Stimulate experiences throughout the year. I'm also author of the book Retail 101 from McGraw-Hill and professor of retail marketing at Columbia, Chicago. From head to toe, young to mature, purpose to pleasure, Stimulate Conversations is committed to supporting sexual wellness professionals. Together with industry leaders as our guests, we look forward to delivering trusted and important conversations to help support retail, wholesale, spa, salon, and medical professionals who collectively want to help elevate and support their consumers within the sexual wellness community from an educated and professional perspective. Listeners of Stimulate Conversations can look forward to gaining expert-led insight from industry leaders, ranging from doctors to retail operational experts to industry visionaries and more. Without further ado, let's dive into Stimulate Conversations. Welcome to another edition of Stimulate Conversations. I am so thrilled to have Dr. Elliot Justin joining me today. I was told by one urologist, you've got to meet this guy, Dr. Elliot Justin. And then yet another urologist tells me, you've got to meet this guy, Dr. Justin. And then another urologist. And here we are right now. So we've had the pleasure of speaking before. And today I have the pleasure of sharing his wisdom and a lot of great other intel and exciting things he's up to with everybody here. So welcome, Dr. Elliot.
Thanks. Great to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited. And you actually have just returned from Dubai. Why don't you tell us a bit about that as well as your professional background? You have such an impressive background and career in general. Most recently, again, you were in Dubai and you've recently launched wonderful product development that I want to share more with. But if you could give a snapshot of your professional background and leading up to today for our listeners, that'd be great.
Right. Well, let's just start briefly with my unprofessional background. I think I'm one of the rare male adolescents whose mother took him to your urologist 3 times because she was concerned that his masturbation habit was such that he would not get into college. So for all those women out there might have similar concerns about their porn-addicted sons, there's hope. So not surprisingly, my first day of medical school at Boston University, I went to the medical library to read about aphrodisiacs. I was the only one doing that, so I knew I was an outlier. And there was the usual stuff that people still talk about today: L-arginine, DHEA, horny goat weed, fungus wanda this, and yohimbe that, and a little bit of mushrooms. I tried all of them. The bad news is that none of them work. They didn't work then, and they don't work today. I live in Montana. Background in emergency medicine physician. I can tell you, as an emergency medicine doctor, short of a heart attack or a stroke, there's no emergency that concerns a man so much as a limp dick. So I was interested in this area. In 2015, I was recklessly riding a horse nearby here, where I live in Montana, and someone had cut a tree that had fallen over a trail so that you could walk under it, but you couldn't ride underneath it. I shattered that tree with my chest. I broke 6 ribs and 6 vertebrae. And as I was lying on the ground, concerned about my spinal cord, I performed and by the way, this works for women as well too. Listen, everyone. I performed the cock-up sign. So what's the cock-up sign? If you can cock up if you're worried about your spinal cord, if you can cock up your big toe, you can defecate, urinate, fornicate the big 3. Life is going to be good going forward. But that got me interested in what's gone on in restoring sexuality to men and to women who've had spinal cord or multiple issues or nerve issues like multiple sclerosis impacting their sexuality. And there was several papers claiming that the cavernous nerve could be neuromodulated. So what does that mean? The cavernous nerve is everyone's favorite nerve that no one's heard about. It's the nerve supposedly responsible for producing orgasms in men and women. The neuromodulation is like cardiac pacemaking. It's basically putting an electrode inside the body, having an external pacemaker, either with wires going to it or sending electricity through the skin, and controlling that nerve. So I thought, well, let's let's try pacing the cavernous nerve. These other doctors said they did it. So I tested out on 2 rams, male sheep, and we did get erection ejaculation, but we also got defecation, urination, so it wasn't ready for the bedroom. And I thought, this being a personal science fair project, let's try it out on me. So I had a friendly urologist insert an electrode by my cavernous nerve, and we tried stimulating it, and nothing happened. I don't think we actually know how orgasms are produced in men and women. I think it's not everything. Everything in the body comes down to electricity, but we don't really understand the currents of sexual pleasure yet, electrical currents of sexual pleasure yet. I think it will eventually. So how did I go from there to here? A urologist at the University of Utah heard about this experiment and said he was interested in counting the number of nocturnal erections that men have while they're sleeping. And I thought, well, why? Why do we care? I mean, everyone knows about morning wood, and we poke our partners with it, but what does it mean? And he informed me that I was ignorant, as are most doctors, most people, that the number of nocturnal erections is a leading indicator of man's cardiovascular health. Well, leading indicator is a really powerful statement in medicine because associations, we act on associations often in medicine. So high blood pressure is associated with heart attack or stroke, but it doesn't indicate it. Nocturnal erections are a leading indicator, meaning that before a man has a heart attack or a stroke, if his number of nocturnal erections goes down, that man is at high risk for having a heart attack or a stroke, and will eventually have a heart attack or a stroke. It's a warning sign. And I kind of jumped on that because that would make this a sixth vital sign and a more motivating vital sign than most of the other ones, like pulse, blood pressure, respiratory rate, etc. So my thought was, now this urologist, like most urologists, is just ignorant about cock rings because straight urologists just don't use them. And it's unfortunate because they really should be the first line of therapy for erectile dysfunction. I can get more of that later on. But cock rings, for those who are familiar with them, they're like like a fucking gasket. You know, it's a plumbing tool, almost like a noose put on the penis. Who wants a hangman for their penis? They're these hard silicone rings. They pinch. They're uncomfortable. You have to have an erection to put them on. Well, there already is a challenge because the man has erectile dysfunction. He has a hard time getting an erection. And now when he finally gets the erection, he's got to struggle for this uncomfortable plastic ring, slide it over his penis. You can only wear it for 15, 20, 30 minutes because it's choking off the blood supply of the penis, and you get vascular or damage to your penis if you leave it on too long. So I realized if I wanted to count the number of nocturnal erections and come up with something that could be worn during sex comfortably, that we had to change the material of cock rings. So I'm certain you're familiar with these hard silicone rings. Ours is made out of a soft elastomer. So that was inspired by a stress ball that was on my wife's desk. I knew I wanted to make something that was soft, something that would not block the arterial flow in, but would just constrain the venous return, meaning a man could put it on discreetly hours before sex. There'd be no risk of damage to tissue, and would only work when the man was aroused. I also wanted it to be something that was going to be easy on, easy off, and safe. I'm 70 years old. I'm fortunate. I'm in good health. I can look down and I can see my penis. Most men my age, most men younger than me, you probably have seen this. They look down, they just see fucking belly. Now, if you got a guy who's anxious about his getting an erection, has had 2 puffs of pot, 2 shots of bourbon, couldn't get up the last time, and he's taking medications, antidepressants or antihypertensive, that make it harder for him to get aroused. Now he's got to struggle with a ring. It's hard to get on. Let's make it easy. So our ring opens and closes with a hook. And what's the inspiration for that came from the bra. I would say that probably half of heterosexual sex in the world starts when a guy is scratching his partner's back after he takes a bra off at night. Why? Because bras are uncomfortable, and they itch. They itch because there's a silicone band in the back. And silicone makes the skin adapt to it. Elastomer adapts to the skin. It's a more comfortable material. The bra also opens and closes with a hook. A bra is a ring that opens and closes. I saw my wife's bra on the ground, and I thought, oh, duh. Let's finally make a cock ring. That's not a hard silicone ring that has to be stretched out, dropped on, snapped on like an uncomfortable rubber band, but that is easy on and off. And this one goes on differently. I'll show you. This, of course, is a simulation of my penis. No, not really, but it's you drop your the balls get dropped in. Hold on, sorry. The balls get dropped in. Then perhaps actually let me do it the right way. I'll do it this way. The balls get dropped in, so you don't slide it down the penis. Balls get dropped in, and it closes with a hook like that. So what do we accomplish with this? And I'll get to the data in a moment because the data is even more important than this. But one, we put a little bit of light pressure over the urethra. The goal of the pressure over the urethra is to produce a more profound orgasm.
Okay.
Men have shit when it comes to sex toys. You go into a sex toy store and there are walls of vibrators and dildos for women, and then there's a little section of cock rings. There are all these stuff there, and there's these cock rings, silicone rings, a little bit of maybe a vibrator stuck in them. None of those rings were designed, tested to make a man's orgasm more powerful. So what we did, we took a group of men aged 27 to 70, and we said, let's try to draw out the ejaculation by 50%, meaning my ejaculation goes from 4 seconds to 7 seconds. That is a more powerful orgasm. My wife says she's glad the kids are out of the house because I'm loud now. It's awesome. And we've sold around 1,000 of these in like 6 weeks because it has that specific design feature. It's also what my wife calls a bra for balls. So the testicles are a secondary erogenous zone, kind of like the skin of breasts. They're sensitive, and for some people who are really sensitive, they can even be orgasmic. I don't find that to be the case. Most people don't, but they're sensitive. What happens to balls during sex, or breasts for that matter? They're up, they're down, they're here, they're there, they flop around. What does a partner want or a man want with them? He wants to be able to have them clasped, slapped, stroked, whatever. Woman wants to grab a hold of them. Where are they? What do women do with their breasts during sex, especially women who have larger breasts? Well, they bind them up in some way. They wear negligee, they wear a bra. They keep them in a consistent location for pleasure and comfort. So this accomplishes that as well too. It's like a bra for balls. So we've changed the form of the cock ring. We changed material from silicone to elastomer. We've changed the form of the conventional cock ring. It's a double cock ring. It goes on in a unique way. It doesn't slide down the shaft. It wraps around the testicles. It can be worn for hours for protracted sex play because those conventional cock rings, I mean, who wants to have sex 15 minutes? I've had sex for 45 minutes. The other great thing about a cock ring that men need to learn and women need to get too is that most men's problem is not this, getting it up, it's keeping it up. And men lose their erections for a whole variety of reasons, from anxiety, alcohol, medication, etc. But a man with a cock ring on with an erection is a man who's more confident that he's going to be able to keep going. And that's profoundly valuable, not just to the man, but to his partner. And I can get back to more of that later on, but I'd rather talk about the data. The data, right now, if a man goes to a urologist or a sexologist and says, I like my sexual performance where it is, I want to keep it, how do I do that? Or says, I have a problem, what can we do about it? They have advice, and a lot of the advice is good. Is your blood pressure under control? Are you diabetic? Are you overweight? Are you exercising enough? But those are kind of fuzzy points. Those are kind of fuzzy recommendations. What you really want is the type of information that you would get if you had a heart problem. If I went to a cardiologist and said, I'm worried about my heart, what should I do? And the cardiologist told me, you need to lose 10 pounds. You need to walk 2 miles a day, come back in a year. I think, what the fuck was that about? Where's my electrocardiogram? Where's my CT angiogram? Where's my blood lipoprotein profile? Well, if a man goes to a urologist or a sexologist, they have nothing. They have very little, I should say. They have a subjective questionnaire. They ask, it's really penetrative, sex-focused, and wrong. They can wave an ultrasound over your penis in the office to check out your blood flow, but I don't know about most guys. Most guys are not going to get an erection in the office. I really want to know what's going on when I'm trying to have sex, not when some unattractive technologist has cold hand on my testicles and with an ultrasound machine. So I want data. So what we're doing with this device is providing men with data for the first time, because if you can track it, you can hack it. So with data, we can, one overnight, we count the number of nocturnal erections, how long they last. And that's really valuable because the men, I'll take it at both extremes. If a man is having 4 nocturnal erections and can't get up with his partner, that's a partnership issue, more likely than not. On the other hand, if a man has 1 or 2 feeble nocturnal erections and can't get up with a partner, that partner is getting wrist fatigue or jaw fatigue for nothing because it ain't happening. That man has a significant neurological or probably cardiology problems, and that man needs to see doctors and needs help. So data is really valuable. One, during sex, we measure the duration of firmness of erections. So utilizing that data, men can measure the impact of diseases, diabetes, hypertension, medications. The big cock killers are the SSRI antidepressants, the antihypertensives, and there's alcohol. Men can measure the impact of supplements and diet upon the sexual performance and relationships. How do they perform with different partners? Is this an issue between between the partners? If there's a problem, you can also see what's working, which is good too. And you can get the app actually allows notifications, as in, hey Elliot, you're having 20% more sex this month. Way to go! Or hey Elliot, your erections are 30% weaker this month. What's changed? Give us 4 more readings. Let's help you assess the problem. So this technology is going to revolutionize neurology and sexology. I'm confident that it will become the standard of care, clinical care, and research over the next 2 years.
Yeah, I'm so
I'm sorry.
impressed by this. Yeah, I mean, there's so much, such a wealth of information. And before we even tuned in today officially, I said, I know we're going to have more than one episode because there's just so much to learn from you. And the Firm Tech device that you've just explained and shown us through demonstration. So those listening in Spotify, make sure you tune into YouTube because you can visually see it there as well. But what's so fascinating to me is that you've truly combined purpose and pleasure with this device. And, at Stimulate, that's one of the key things that we like to connect as well, purpose and pleasure. And so I absolutely love that from head to toe, young to mature, purpose to pleasure, which is our motto at Stimulate. You have defined that through this Firm Tech invention. And I want to make sure we also discuss what you guys are up to in supporting women with a similar, hopefully launched one of these days, opportunities. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Sure. Well, when I started working on the male device, when I really finished working on the male device, my thoughts changed to women. I wish I started with women first for several reasons. One, the obvious one being that the market is larger, because women have more sexual problems than men do. Women like to blame their problems on men, as men do vice versa. But it's really I think it's largely the problem of pharma. So women before they have menopause, they have certain hormonal protection against hypertension, atherosclerosis, even a bit of protection against diabetes. Postmenopausal women lose those protections. They have all the same problems that men do. But premenopausal women take hormones, and many do, and they take SSRI antidepressants. Many, about 25% of the adult population, 18-25% of the adult population. Well, those things are killers of someone's sexual libido, men and women. So, but women take more of them. So, if women could have data, have a device that would get them the data, they then could track it and hack it. They then could say, I'm not taking these hormones at all because look at the impact upon my clitoral arousal. Or it could be, well, I'm going to cut the dose in half. Or I'm going to switch from this progesterone-rich product to estrogen. Or maybe I need testosterone. And let's see what the impact of that is. So and I also think that women are going to be much less inhibited about this than men are. Women are more proactive about their health. They're smarter about their sexuality than men are. And so I wish I started with women. The idea for this came to me from this urologist. But so once we did the male device, I wanted to do a female device, and that women have. I actually prefer arousal to erections in women because women's erections are so different. I mean, here's something that I learned recently. Maybe you already know this, which is, when a man gets an erection, the blood is contained by the epidermis, by the skin around the penis. Blood can't exudate outside of the penis or transudate. When a woman has an erection, most of the clitoris is internal, and the internal clitoris is not surrounded by epidermis. So where does the blood go?
I had no
So
idea.
I didn't know this. My wife discovered this fact about 6 months ago. It transudates into the vagina. So we think that most I thought, as it probably you, most vaginal secretions are mucosal, with maybe a little bit of transurethral, let's call it G-spot fluid, as part of it. But it turns out that most of the fluid comes out of the clitoris. The blood cells stay in the clitoris, the red blood cells, the white cells, the platelets. There's a membrane around the clitoris, but the fluid, it's like serum. It's like if I had a blister and you saw some serum.
Okay, yeah.
That's what the majority of vaginal secretions are in the majority of women. And as women age and have issues with blood flow into the clitoris, like men have issues with blood flow, those secretions go down because there's less blood flow. So women with hypertension, diabetes especially are risk for this. But there are also medications that women take, blood pressure medications, antidepressants that decrease the blood flow, so there are less secretions. And there's like that much written about this, and here's an issue of profound importance to women, and it's just kind of it's appalling how little research is actually been performed.
And I would imagine there's so much more data to be collected, and you guys are, from my understanding, actually in a funding round. You're looking for investors to help bring this to life. Is that correct?
That's correct. So on the female device, we've tested an early prototype. It could only be used in masturbation. It couldn't be used during penetrative sex. On 38 women, we present. You mentioned Dubai earlier. We presented a paper at Dubai about this device. We presented another paper about this at the Society for Sexual Medicine North America as well, where I certainly know what direction I want to go with it now.
Yeah.
And I need to raise probably about another $500,000 in order to accomplish it.
Well, just in case anyone's listening who wants to invest, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
I just contacted me, Elliot, ELLIOT, at myfirmtech, myfirmtech.com, and we could have this product on the market in 10 months.
Yeah, it's so fascinating because, I've had the pleasure of speaking with you before, and I know that the data you're collecting is just so valuable. What you've brought to life for men is so fascinating. I personally think that it's a game changer in terms of like what you said, like cardiovascular health, even personal understanding. And I was trying to pick up bits and pieces. You had mentioned something like 4 nocturnal erections. 4? Is that what you said? 4 is a healthy number. Is that correct?
Yeah, for 3 to 5 is what.
Okay, and then
in men, we don't know what it is in women. I think it's going to be about the same in women. I think
that's why it's so fascinating, because you could then begin this data collection, which is just so fascinating, and it's like I said before, purpose to pleasure, an opportunity to really expand on that. And it going from the purpose side, obviously we understand it collects great health data, but on the pleasure side, it has the opportunity as well to kind of give the intel to an individual on things that might turn them on, less turn them on, work on their partner relationships. I mean, what do you see as the most value of these devices? I would have to imagine it has to be the data collected, but what would you say is the most valuable piece of it?
It's the data. Yeah. I mean, it's certainly. I mean, I'll put this with female device will have a vibrator eventually, but there are lots of vibrators out there.
Right.
The male device does produce a more intense orgasm. Certainly, and there'll be a paper published about this in the spring. The takeaway for men with cock rings is, hey, straight guys, don't be so proud. And it's not about needing something; it's about wanting something. You want to have a better orgasm. You want to last longer. Put a ring on it and take a pill.
Yeah.
But the data itself is life changing. Almost everyone wants to enjoy a lifetime of lovemaking and of health. and the data will allow them to do that. They can say, I we all, men and women, are on a path from erectile fitness to erectile dysfunction. And if we have data, we can say, here we are. How can I keep it here? How can I reverse it? And if things are getting, and I can now know if things are getting worse, but I'm not aware of them. I can be aware that they're getting worse before I have an obvious problem. So it's my hope that also people develop a positive relationship with their wearables.
Yeah.
People buy a digital scale. They start checking their weight. People get a Whoop or an Aura. They start tracking their data. What data is most exciting to people? How many
Well, I
steps they
have
took
friends
yesterday?
who are addicted to their Apple Watch in terms of collecting how many steps they take or calories being burned. To me, this is so important because even you just said a lifetime, right? A lifetime of pleasure. So from young to old, I see value in, our young generation, Z, which is our youngest generation of consumers that are actually spending their own money right now, being very, very interested in this because they're going to be intrigued by the data collected. It's almost like bragging rights, right? They can collect data and show off to their friends or counterparts, maybe challenge each other. I think of it almost like as a fun tech game because this is the generation of technology. But then you go up through baby boomers, and now there's value in just getting to understand your own health better, in addition to that pleasure point as well, like where the actual pressure on the urethra, you said correct, can help with that.
Well,
So,
we know that people have regular sex
yeah.
are healthy mentally, and healthy in many other ways. I mean, if someone has sex, there's one paper came out recently. People had sex just once a day for 2 weeks. Their cortisol level improved. Their inflammatory markers improved. So, yeah, we want people to get addicted. We want people to make love more, to be happier, and to have happier, have to have better cardiovascular, cardiometabolic lives. I'm hoping that diabetics and hypertensives will be more motivated to comply with the regimens when they see the impact of these diseases upon their sexuality, and that problems caught early are reversible.
Yeah, that leads me to another question because a lot of our listeners are retail operators. They're making purchase decisions for retail stores, but they're also med spas, medical offices. I mean, where are you currently selling firm tech so that whether it's a business looking to bring it into their own space or a consumer who might be just interested in purchasing it for themselves, where can they find this?
Well, most of our purchases are made online.
Okay.
And about 60% of our business comes from podcasts like this.
Yeah.
People finding out about on podcasts. About 20% of social media. The rest of it is distributors, and there's sex toy distributors. I'll get to the next one in a moment. The issue in retail is our devices are more expensive than things that appear to be comparable. So you can, you can get a cock ring for $5, or you can get ours for $60. The cock ring is $5. Is designed to be used once or twice. It's a novelty. Ours are designed to be used for months, years, and are specifically designed to enhance pleasure. And I think people in the retail stores, in my experience, because Doc Johnson distributes our devices. Nalpac is now starting to distribute our devices. They're also being sold in Europe by Ecom, EQO. The store personnel are not they're often female, and they don't. When it comes to vibrators, they got their personal favorites. They play with them. When it comes to male devices, it's like, hey, a ring is a ring is a ring is a ring, and they're wrong. So the education component, just to my perspective, isn't happening. When it comes to men's clinics, we are in 3 right now. It's my hope that the cadence of research in urology and sexology that we published. So we have 3 abstracts so far. There are going to be about 6 abstracts, 24. So by 25, the whole field of urology and sexology is going to know about it. I'd love to sell to men's clinics now, but they don't really seem to. It's hard to get them. Frankly, it's damn hard to get them to pick up the phone. I know what your experience has been. But it's hard to.
Well, I have to tell you, that's why we produce Stimulate the Show, because we are bringing them to these shows so that Well, first of all, I should tell people you'll be there. You'll be at our national 2024 show. You'll be one of our speakers, which we're so excited about. And going back to that education you spoke about in the store, how it simply doesn't always exist. That's one of the goals we try to overcome for our Stimulate Educate program, which is bringing that intelligence to, the front-facing employees at the store that can then connect to the consumers so they can better communicate about products like Firm Tech and other things within their environment, because it is so important. Pleasure is a big part of the sexual wellness space, but purpose is just as equally, if not more equally in many ways, important. So that is a huge responsibility we take on here at Stimulate, and bringing those medical clinics, the male clinics, the female-focused businesses, of course, all touch points of anybody sexual orientation. So we're really, really excited to welcome you in Nashville, August 5th and 6th this upcoming year. So that's something.
Well, looking forward to that. I think there's another component as well, though, which we need to be candid about, which is that men with ED, same applies to women, but I'll pick on men. Men with ED will walk on their knees on broken glass to get a solution. And where there are hopes, there are dopes. And the most dangerous people selling things are people who both believe in their product and are also making money. The allopathic conventional doctors have done a terrible job in this area. I'll say we because I'm one of them. We don't take sexual histories. We don't listen to people. Our thought process is sex is not that important. Oh, if it is important to you, take a PD5 medication. Oh, it's not working. Let's do an ultrasound, get some blood tests, and maybe you need an implant. That's not very. Since most men's problem is that they're just losing their erections for a variety of reasons. The real answer should be take a history, find out when men are failing, what's going on in their minds, with whom they're failing, where are their medications, can we adjust their medications, put a ring on it, get data to figure out what PD5 medication is working for them the best. Certainly for all men, with ED or without ED, a ring and PD5 medications are the answers to all like 90% of men's problems. But a lot of things are being used for men that don't work, and the men's clinics are pushing them. Some work, some don't, and some work in only some populations and not. So
right.
Let's look at shockwave therapy. Shockwave therapy works, but is it for all men?
So that leads me to the next question for you is, where do you think the future of sexual wellness is going to go? Because it sounds like there's a lot of opportunity there.
Well, we're doing this really disruptive.
I agree.
And so I think the future, looking ahead 3 to 5 years, not going to take time, the future of sexual health for men is going to revolve around data. It's going to be data driven. If this, what was blood pressure before there was a blood pressure cuff? It was someone palpating your pulse. Hey, your pulse feels strong. Your pulse feels weak. What was an irregular pulse before an electrocardiogram? Let's try this pill. And that's where we are with men's sexual health right now. It's like men are desperate. Let's throw everything at it. Yeah. You got the P shot. Does it work? Doesn't work. I suspect it doesn't work. You got shockwave therapy. It works, but doesn't work in everyone. So rather than everyone's paying money to go, to get this done, let's actually figure out using data, like with our device, who benefits, who doesn't benefit. Medications. We now can figure out what dose is the best, whether it's working, or whether just getting a placebo effect from it. And all these nutraceuticals, and we here at Firm Tech tested L-arginine, DHEA, nitric oxide, horny goatweed, a couple of things. Taken orally, none of them work. But people now, I recognize there's a placebo effect. And some guy tells me, nope, that horny goatweed really works for me. It's like, okay, well, keep taking it.
Well, maybe it's a mental thing, yeah. And I know that OSHA, we actually did have a guest on our episode she's a spa owner out of Austin, Texas, Modern Beauty. Her name's Leslie Laverty. And they deliver the OSHA, which I know is trademarked. Specifically, they call it something. I think they call it the Mod OSHA in their specific location. But and that's for women. So that's for enhanced women orgasm pleasure, right? So she said it is very beneficial for many women, but it doesn't always necessarily translate to the equal benefits of everyone. So,
But with data, you can anticipate that. So, I mean, I'll give you an extreme example with shockwave therapy in men. If a man has no nocturnal erections, shockwave therapy is not going to work for that person because his vascular, even if he does it, assuming that he has vascular genetic disease, and you and I both know that shockwave therapy is being prescribed for all of them, they'll shock anyone. But assuming he has vascular genetic disease but has no nocturnal erections, that disease is so far along that it's pointless. That man needs an implant if he wants to have an erection. But I don't think these clinics are going to tell it to people. People are going to pay a few $1,000s.
Yeah.
So what's going to change? That's going to change. When people, it's going to be the care is going to become more objective because there'll be data that will make it objective.
And it really doesn't surprise me that technology is the future of supporting sexual health for men and women. I mean, that is the world we live in right now. We are in 2024. It's only going to get more comprehensive in terms of technology and, of course, data. I love that data is going to help fuel people's not only the health of their head-to-toe well-being, but their sexual well-being more specifically. I could talk to you all day long, but sadly, we're coming to an end. And I want to make sure that we get our rapid-fire questions in with you, Dr. Elliot. So it's one of my favorite parts to stimulate conversation. There are 5 quick questions, 5 quick answers. If you're ready, I'm ready. You ready to go?
I'm ready. Go ahead.
All right. What does sexual wellness mean to you?
Sexual wellness means that I'm mentally and physically healthy enough to enjoy sex.
Love that. And how do you define good customer service?
The basis of good customer service is the golden rule, which treat people the way we would want to be treated. We need to take that one step further, which is to recognize that they are different than us. So, as a doctor, the encounter wasn't about me. It was about them. I need to listen.
Yeah, I really love that. That can translate to any business leader out there. And what keeps you personally inspired?
I love playing for pleasure.
Yeah, love that. And what keeps you professionally inspired?
When I practice emergency medicine, I want to be the best. And I also want to be open to whatever was innovative and fresh. Now that I'm at the frontier interface of sex and health, I bring the same passion, the same commitment. I want to deliver transitional value to my patients, to our customers.
Yeah, I love that. It's so clear to see your passion too, which I personally adore. And what's the best advice you have for business leaders?
Don't vote for socialists. Regulation and taxes will kill you.
Absolutely love it. Awesome. Well, such a pleasure speaking with you today. On behalf of the entire Stimulate team and myself, we appreciate you sharing your time and your wisdom with our Stimulate community. Thank you so much, Dr. Elliot.
Thank you. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Stimulate Conversations offers year-round ways to stay in touch between our podcasts, including a private Facebook community for ongoing and more in-depth discussions, which you can find via Facebook at the group name Stimulate, Sexual Wellness Business Discussions. You can also stay connected via Instagram at the handle Stimulate the Show. And you're welcome to email us at stimulate@retailminded.com. I'm Nicole Leinbach, founder of Stimulate and your host. And together with the entire Stimulate team, we look forward to continued discussions that will, you guessed it, keep you stimulated on the business of sexual wellness. Till next time, stay stimulated.